Ahoy VC, welcome to the Personal Oasis. This is the Blind Island. I'm your host Isaac, and today I am starting off part one of a two-part series, 20 incredible jazz albums. I've been noticing a lot in the VC that there are lots of great channels for checking out jazz music. One that I would highly recommend is the Jazz Shepherd, especially for anyone who wants to take a deeper dive into jazz. Go there. That guy knows his stuff. He is incredible. His collection is vast and his knowledge is encyclopedic. Highly recommend that channel. Go check him out. I will include a link below. However, I noticed that a lot of the lists that are included in the VC usually have the same usual suspect albums, Kind of Blue, Love Supreme, and Village Sunday at the Village Vanguard by Bill Evans. And I thought that I would include a list here that may still have some of the big hitters, but maybe not the ones that you would be thinking of. And also a lot of people who are newer to jazz may not even know any of these records. So I thought that I would include a list that is a little bit more varied, and that's why it's called 20 incredible jazz albums, not necessarily the best or my favorite, just albums that I think would be great. They'll show off a variety of different styles, and people can kind of have a jumping on point into a jazz from here. So let's get started off with the list here. At number 20, this is a huge record right here, a very seminal, and it's called Song for My Father by the Horace Silver Quintet. Absolutely essential jazz listening with a Latin flavor to the music. Some of the most beautiful jazz music that you will ever hear, released on Blue Note. This is a 1972 reissue. You can pick up copies of this. Reissues fairly cheap now, and I'm not sure if it's part of the Tome Poet series yet. Blue Note has been reissuing a lot of their classics on that, but if they haven't reissued it, be on the lookout for it because it is so dang good. This is easily Horace Silver's greatest moment as a band leader and an absolute gem and diamond in the Blue Note discography. Then at number 19, we have Joe Farrell, Penny Arcade. Joe Farrell is such an unheralded saxophone player. He really brought in elements of fusion, world, and funk into his music. A wonderful player and very much a forerunner at the time, never has gotten the credit that I believe he truly deserves. This is not as big as some of his earlier material for CTI, such as Moon Germs or Outback, but I believe that this is really funky and accessible. He is surrounded by A-list talent. Herbie Hancock is on the keys, Joe Beck is on the guitar, and it is heavy, funktastic, wah-wah infested jazz fusion. I'll include a little needle drop here just so that you can get a taste of how wonderful this jazz album really is. At number 18, I have Pharoah Sanders' Karma. I've mentioned this album a couple of times, and I will continue to mention it because I believe it is an extreme example of spiritual jazz. And it's a little bit on the avant-garde side. There are some vocalizations on here that may get a little taxing for some listeners, but I believe overall it's an incredibly melodic, colorful, vibrant album that many people will find to be transcendental. And even looking at the cover here, he is in a state of pure serenity and bliss, pure beauty on this record. Student of John Coltrane, you're going to be in for some pretty intense wailing on this record, but definitely one of the more laid-back Pharoah Sanders albums in his discography. Highly recommended. And at number 17, we have Stan Getz, Focus. A lot of people probably are familiar with Stan Getz from Getz Gilberto, which is a fantastic jazz samba album that pretty much took off the whole genre right there with the girl from Ipanema with the indelible Astrid Gilberto. However, I think that this record right here is so resonant to Stan Getz's ability and prowess. He is backed up by a large stringed orchestra headed by Eddie Sauter, and Stan Getz is just hearing what they're playing and riffing on top of it. It really fits well into that third wave, third stream jazz, where it mixes elements of classical music in with jazz music. Pure beauty. And you can pick this one up super cheap. Highly recommend it for one of the masters of the instrument. And at number 16, I have Coryell by Larry Coryell. One of the greatest jazz guitarists of all time. He had a heavier leaning towards rock, that is for sure, and that is very apparent on this album. He does sing on a couple of the tracks here, and it is more of the very beginnings of rock and jazz infusion. So good. Highly just fiery licks, melting your face off, shredding, very Hendrix-esque, and I would just highly recommend this for anyone who's really into guitar theatrics. I'm going to include a little needle drop so you can get a taste of how intense Coryell's playing is on this record. At 15, I have Kenny Burrell, God Bless the Child. Kenny Burrell is one of the greatest jazz guitarists of all time, and many will know his name from the wonderful album Midnight Blue. But this record right here can be found on the cheap and is so beautiful. His guitar playing is resonant and very just hypnotic throughout. A gorgeous listen with wonderful, tasteful orchestral arrangements behind Kenny Burrell. This is a gem found in the CTI label and a great pickup for anyone looking to get into the master of jazz guitar. And at 14, I have Booker Irvin, The In-Between. Now this guy is a blower right here. He is so freaking good on his instrument, and it could be said Coltrane-esque. I also believe that he was a guy who was kind of left behind. He was still releasing hard bop albums in the late 60s when people were starting to move heavily towards the fusion genre, and Booker Irvin just kept on coming out with these incredible hard bop albums, and I think that people have missed the boat on this guy because he is so freaking good. I'm including a little needle drop so you can get a taste of the wonderful music that this man could create. At number 13, I have the Dave Holland Quartet. This Conference of the Birds. This is just phenomenal free jazz avant-garde, and I know that a lot of people really aren't into that, but there is a lot more here to hold on to the center than in a lot of other free jazz albums. I believe if you're looking to dip your toe into the free jazz waters, this is a great place to start. And you'll find that there are moments of really transcendent beauty to be had in the free jazz movement, and may make you want to explore further into it. But I wouldn't recommend starting off with this one right away. However, this is a great place to start if you're looking to get into free jazz. And then, number 12, I have Gabriel Jabo's Jazz Raga. This, I would even say, is one of the very first fusion albums ever. Gabriel Jabo was a jazz guitarist, another one of my absolute favorites, and he brought in this world element that wasn't really being brought into jazz in a big way, and he also brought in the psychedelic element as well in this record. It is very much an album of its time, bringing in sitars and very strange looping melodics. It is really great. There are some wonderful covers on here. Paint It Black coming out especially, but his original tune, Misrab, is the gem to be found in here. I'll include a small needle drop so you can get a taste of what that sounds like. And at number 11, I have the incredible Bill Evans and Jim Hall Undercurrent. This album sounds exactly like the cover art would suggest. Ethereal, mysterious, majestic, ghostly, and beautiful. The interplay between these two genius players is to die for. They are playing at the absolute pinnacle of their craft and create worlds that are so delicate. They're like moonlight down on pearls. So you don't want to even touch it because you're afraid that it'll disappear before you can even grasp it. But the thing is, you can grasp it. You can hold it and listen to it time and time again. Absolutely essential jazz listening. Fantastic record. So guys, that's part 1 in the books, and I want to know, what do you guys think of this first part? Let me know in the comments below. Be on the lookout for part 2 upcoming, and I hope that you have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.